Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And today I'm going to show you how I made a card with the Arrange a Wreath bundle, which is one of my favorite ones from the mini catalog, the one that we currently have going on, which is the August to December mini catalog. And like I said, it's a really fun little bundle. And as an added bonus, this bundle will be on sale for an additional 10% off tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So if you're watching this video late, you've missed it. But Tuesday, November 24th, Stampin' Up! Is doing a 10% off pretty much everything in the annual catalog. There is an exclusion list. I guess I can talk to you about that before we get going. But there is an exclusion list, but it starts at midnight. Overnight tonight, runs all day tomorrow until 11:50 p.m. So make sure that you get your order put in by 11:50 p.m. and you can save an additional 10% on a whole pile of things. Somebody mentioned it was like 600 items or something like that. So the details are posted out on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. So go take a peek at it. And again, it's only on November 24th. So be sure that you are getting your order put in on the 24th to get the discount. So hey, Akiko and Kathy, thanks for hopping in today. I appreciate it. And if you're joining live, feel free to say hello. And if you are watching the replay, that's just awesome too. So one other thing before we get going I wanted to remind you about is Stampin' Up! Has their Curvy Celebrations stamp set bundle and a couple of add-on items that are available now. The Quite Curvy bundle is actually going to be available in the upcoming mini catalog, which is the January to June 2021 mini catalog. And so it's a stamp set and dies, and it's available now as a bundle. Once the catalog goes live in January on the 5th, you'll be able to order it individually, but for now it's only bundled. Hey, Diane. Yes, a day before your birthday. Yes, you should celebrate. So... all right, and Tracy, thanks for hopping on as well. So we've got the Curvy Christmas stamp set and the Classic Christmas 6x6 Designer Series paper. These two items are only available during this time frame up until January 4th. So if you are wanting either of these items, which you definitely are, you should get them. You need to get your orders put in before the 4th. They also have, Stampin' Up! Has also got a big variety bundle, which includes all of this for 10% discount off of everything. So you get the stamp set bundle, you get this stamp set, and the Designer Series paper that coordinate with it. Again, it's all on sale for 10% off with the Stampin' Up! Quite Curvy Variety Bundle. Again, the details are posted on my blog, and I do have a little bonus set of tutorials that if you order either the Quite Curvy Bundle or the Quite Curvy Variety Bundle through me, that you're going to get. All right. Okay. Hey, Barbara and Naoka. It's nice to see you both here. And yes, there are some really good cards made with the Curvy stamp set bundle. So you definitely, like I said, it's a good one. You need to get it. All right. So back to the card for today. Again, I'm using the Arrange a Wreath stamp set. So I've used that for the two images here that I've stamped. And then the Wreath Builder dies for the die cuts here on the background of this. So this is the Arrange a Wreath stamp set. If you haven't seen it, again, it's from the annual catalog. And again, tomorrow it will be on sale for 10% off. So yay about that. So make sure that you are getting your order put in for this bundle because it's awesome. And my tutorials for next month just might be using this bundle. So anyway, keep that in mind. Like I said, you definitely want to get it. So we're using the Christmas sentiment on this one, but again, this is one that's got kind of a wide variety of sentiments, so it's nice. It spans most of the year. And then we've got some pretty dies that go with it. These are the Wreath Builder dies that coordinate. Again, these are bundled together for 10% off, and it's a huge set of dies, which I love that as well. So we've got two different wreath dies and then some little accessory dies here. These don't necessarily cut out anything that's stamped, but they're just some nice little images here. These do cut out some of the stamped images, so those are awesome as well, and the little flower does too. And then there's a bow. This is actually a two-part bow, and I'll show you today, but basically you cut two pieces and adhere them together, and then it's like a double loop bow without having to tie it yourself, which I love because double loop bows and I don't always get along. So this is the die set that we're going to be using. And let me set that aside. On the inside of the card, I actually used, again, one of my favorite sets from the June, August to December mini catalog, which is the Wrapped in Christmas stamp set. So I'm using the It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year image for the inside of the card. One other thing that I did use on this card, which of course, I can't hardly not use it, is one of the stitched rectangle dies. Whoops, and I grabbed the wrong one. It's the second largest one that I used to cut out this piece of cardstock, just the Whisper White cardstock, again, just with the stitched rectangle die. So that's the card we're going to be making today. So it is a really good bundle. Oh, sneaking in from work, Karen, that's naughty, but that's okay. I appreciate it. Hey, Jeanette, thanks for hopping in. So, all right, so we are going to get started with a card base that is cherry cobbler, and again, this will work with either type of card that you like to do. Again, I prefer the tent fold one, so I have this cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2, but it also works with the regular book fold cards, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. So either way, it will definitely work. So I've got a piece of the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, and it is cut to 4 1/2, or you'll have to look at my blog post because I know I'm going to say these all wrong. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it should fit perfectly onto the card front and cover the whole thing. And I used a little bit of liquid glue, multi-purpose liquid glue, to adhere the designer paper to the card front. And I usually use liquid glue when I'm adhering down a big piece of paper like that to the card front where I need it to kind of fit perfectly, so that it gives me a little bit of time to wiggle it around and make sure everything is lined up before it is stuck down forever and ever. And I did a little die cutting ahead of time so you don't have to sit and watch me do all of that stuff. But we are going to do a little bit of stamping. Again, I've got cherry cobbler ink, and the sentiment is from the Arrange a Wreath stamp set. And we're just going to stamp Merry Christmas down in the lower left corner. And this is Whisper White cardstock that I've cut with the second largest of the stitched rectangle dies. So I'm going to get that stamped on here, hopefully straight. All right. Next up, we are going to adhere a couple of die cuts down, die cut pieces. Of course, everything is all stuck together. So I have cut from Shaded Spruce cardstock 2 of the wreaths, which are from the Wreath Builder dies. There's my liquid glue. And we're just going to adhere them one over the top of the other. And you can definitely use either liquid glue with this, or you can use the adhesive sheets. I'm using liquid glue. I don't know. I'm not sure that there's really, one is better than the other. It's just kind of which one you prefer to use. The adhesive sheets definitely will stick it down well. So does the liquid glue though. So it's just, again, kind of a matter of the adhesive sheets. Sometimes you don't get a whole lot of wiggle room. Once they're stuck down, they're stuck down. So if you get one, because it is a little bit thinner of a die, sometimes I stick things on crookedy and, and then I want to move them around just a little bit. And the adhesive sheets, once you put it down, is pretty well stuck. So, all right, so that was the first one. Again, just putting a little dab of liquid glue on the back of each one of the leaves. It doesn't need to be a ton of glue, because if you put a ton on, it's probably going to goop out everywhere and you will be very unhappy with that result as well. So just a touch of glue, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to try not to actually line it up perfectly with the die cut that I have placed on here. I want the circular part to be lined up, but I don't necessarily want the leaves to be lined up exactly. So I want them to be a little bit offset, if that makes sense. All right, and then I'm going to take my little fingers and smoosh down here and try to get it to stick fairly quickly. Hopefully y'all are enjoying your Monday. It's a little weird being here on a Monday, but I was just afraid. I've got an appointment tomorrow, and I knew timing was going to be kind of tight, and I was just afraid that I was going to run short on time and wouldn't be able to do the live at all. And I definitely wanted to hop on and do the live, so I decided to hop on a day early. All right, next up, we're going to take this and adhere it to the card front. Hey, Nancy, thanks for joining in today with some Stampin' Seal. And again, just going to run it right around the edges here and adhere it to the card front. And I'm going to try to get it centered on here, which, I try to line it up a little bit on my grid paper so that I have a general idea of what straight is, and hopefully can get it fairly centered and fairly straight. The plaid helps a little bit, but sometimes it's a little distracting too, because if the plaid doesn't line up perfectly with what I'm doing, then I'm like, whoa, my eyes are kind of going cross-eyed trying to figure out what should be where. So next up, we're going to do a little stamping with soft suede ink, and I'm going to stamp the little partridge image. At least I assume it's a partridge with the little, or is it quail? Maybe it's a quail. I don't know. I'm not a bird expert either. See, I like to stamp, but I don't know birds, flowers, all those things. I'm like, it's a bird. That's all I know. So we're just stamping it on Whisper White. Love how it looks with the plaid. Yes, the wreath is it's really pretty all by itself, but yep, when you add plaid in with it, then it makes it really, really nice. So, all right, and again, stamp that. I don't know if I said it in soft suede ink. And I'm going to grab the die from the Wreath Builder's die, which is the one that coordinates with this. And I'm just going to step over here to the side and run it through my die cutting machine. So I'm going to be off screen for just a second. Hey, Joan, thanks for hopping in. And glad that you're liking, hey, Patricia's here as well. Glad that you're liking the traditional red and green colors. So, yep, I love them for Christmas. And although sometimes it's fun to do non-traditional too, so. I try to kind of mix it up and do a little bit of both. So, hey, Kathy, thanks for joining today. So, all right, so we've got our die cut done here of the bird. And then ahead of time, I went ahead and glued a couple of these together, again, just because it's the same process for all of them. And I did the die cutting ahead as well. So I have got the flowers, the little poinsettias are cut from Cherry Cobbler cardstock, and the centers are cut from Bumblebee. And I actually used, I'm not entirely sure. I think this is what it's supposed to be used for, but I'm really not entirely sure. I used this circle die, and it actually fit perfectly to fill in the dots so that you could sort of have the center of the flowers be filled in. So I was happy. That was sort of like a happy find. And again, it may have been designed that way, but I just didn't realize it until I started pulling things together and was going to make this card, and I knew I wanted to put the poinsettia on it, so I was trying to figure out what I was going to use to fill in the dots. And I placed the two kind of one over the top of the other and realized that they work together, so I just went with it. So, and what I've done is just added little dots of multi-purpose liquid glue around the little openings in the flower. And then I'm going to take my Bumblebee die cut and give it a second, smooshing it down, the Bumblebee die cut, and adhered it on the back so that it covers up the little dots on the front. So you can sort of see the yellow through it rather than just seeing the background on the card. So couldn't figure out how to use it either. Okay, so I thought maybe it was just me. I love the little peek through the color. Yep, it's like I said, it's kind of fun, just a little different. You can put some little gems or something over the top of it, but since I was going to be putting kind of a pile of them here, not a pile, but I mean 3 of them is kind of a lot. I didn't want to put 5 gems on top of 3 of them. That would have taken me all day to do, and and plus it would have been a lot of gems. I'm not sure I would have liked that look necessarily. It might have been a little busier than what I wanted it to be. So now I'm just going to add, using glue dots, going to stick down my poinsettias. And I think I'll stick this one sort of up a little bit higher in there, and then this one will be down on the front. Again, just layering them up one over the top of the other. And then I'm going to take my little bird, my quail, my partridge, my whatever bird we've decided it is. Like I said, I was thinking partridge in a pear tree, but with the little thing on the top, I think that's a quail and not a partridge. But I guess I don't know exactly what a partridge looks like either. So I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. I'm probably wrong on it. All right, so took a few glue dots and adhered the little bird here, kind of tucked it underneath my poinsettias so that he's tucked in there, you know, kind of hiding out in the background on the wreath. So yeah, it was a neat little discovery. Like I said, just one of those things where I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with it and held the 2 dies together and went, you know, I think that's going to work. And then I did the die cutting and I'm like, it does work, so yay. So definitely a good thing. All right, so I had, again, pre-cut the bow from the brushed metallic cardstock, and I used the kind of middle toned color. It's not the lighter one, not the darker one, it's the middle one that I believe is the gold color. And I cut both of the pieces of the bow and just stuck them together in a glue dot, or with a glue dot, so that it gives you the double layer bow without having to actually do it. A quail and a partridge are the same kind of bird? They could be. Yeah, I definitely don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's funny. Okay, let's go with that. I like that they're the same bird because then no matter what I call it, it's the right thing. So, all right, the last thing that I'm going to add on the card front is a couple of the gold glitter enamel dots. And these are so, so pretty and actually fairly flat. I mean, they're not completely flat, but they're pretty flat and easy to mail, which is one thing that I love. And as you may have noticed on this card, I actually have not used any dimensionals, which I know is sort of shocking, but I have not used any of them. So this is definitely one of those cards that can be mailed with just a single stamp, which is always a good thing for the holidays when you got 50 million cards that you have to mail out. It's always nice to have one that you can mail out with just one postage stamp. So got the last little gold glitter dot that I'm going to add over here on top of the wreath. And that is all for the card front. So again, super, super simple. Just adds a little bit of sparkle with your gold glitter enamel dots and the little bit of gold on the wreath, which I thought was a nice touch. On the inside of the card, I'm just going to keep it pretty simple. We're going to adhere a piece of the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, and we're just going to do a quick stamping of the sentiment. So you looked it up, and they're members of the same family. Yes, of course I knew that, right. So I'm glad you looked it up, because, yeah, I have no idea. And I didn't realize that they were members of the pheasant family. That's interesting. I had no idea. Because pheasants are quite a bit bigger, I think, than quails and partridge, but I don't know, quails / partridge. So again, this is the sentiment from the Wrapped in Christmas stamp set, and just stamping it in cherry cobbler ink on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to adhere on a piece of the Plaid Tidings 6 by 6 Designer Series paper that I actually trimmed from the card front, so it's about a 1/2 inch wide. And it's a little over, it's about 4 1/4 long, so that I've got a little bit of a lever to help get it placed in the right place. So I'm going to take my paper snips and just trim the extra off, and then we'll adhere this to the inside of the card, and it will be all done. So, all right. And again, just using Stampin' Seal to adhere this down to the inside of the card so that it stays stuck really well. And that is it. And I see that I got a little crazy on my, there we go, on the Plaid Tidings. Just going to wiggle it down just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that there's a little white line underneath it, and I find that I can often do just this and kind of pull it down, and then it's all covered and in the right place. Because sometimes I don't see, especially when I'm working on the white grid paper, it's a little hard to tell placement-wise exactly where everything is, but that works just as well. All right, so that is it for my card share for today. So card I made ahead of time, card we made here on screen. Hope that you like it. One thing about Friday, I think I'm going to plan to go live, but I probably will go live a little bit earlier in the day. Just because we've got Christmas decorating and, possibly some shopping and that sort of thing to do on Friday after the holiday. So just wanted to let you know, keep an eye on my blog and on my Facebook page, and I'll let you know when I'm planning to go live. So, and actually, I probably will end up going live again on Facebook. YouTube, for whatever reason, I'm having some issues with my, with not being able to go live, and it's still giving me trouble today. So I'll plan to probably do Facebook for the time being until I can get that issue resolved. I just don't have any idea what's going on with it. So anyhow, but that is all, and I will stop talking, and thank you so much for hopping in today and listening to me ramble, and I'm glad you had the day off today too and were able to catch the live video as well, Beth. So hopefully you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and I will plan to chat with you guys at some point on Friday. Again, probably going to be a little bit earlier in the day, so we'll plan to see each other then. And thanks again for joining today. Oh, and the details will be posted for this card on my blog on Wednesday, which is a little different. Normally I hop on and share it the following day, but I've got something else planned for tomorrow. So hop on Wednesday, and all the details will be posted out there, and I'll share a link in this video as soon as I get it posted out on my blog so that you can link back to it and see the details as well. So again, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day, and we will chat soon.